All right. In this video, we're going to be looking at how to solve a system of equation using the elimination method, also called the linear combination method. Now, we've done this before with a system of equations with two variables, but this is in a situation where we're going to have three variables, so a total of three equations. All right. So here we have an example like that, where we have three equations with three variables. So this is going to be a little bit different, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But everything that I'm going to be doing, that I'm going to show you, you know how to do already. It's just that, like I said, it's just a little bit of extra work. So the first step is we're going to single out any two of these. It doesn't matter which two. So I'm just going to start with the first two. And sometimes it's even beneficial just to look overall at all three and see, is there a particular variable between the three sets that look like it'd be easy to get rid of? So if we look at the A's, we have 4, 2, and 1 as our coefficients. The B's is 5 and 6. C's are 5 and 3 or 5, 3, and 6 are coefficients. So since the first set with the A values, it looks like it'd be easiest maybe to start by getting rid of those, because it's gonna be, we only have to multiply one equation by a variable. I'll show you what I mean by that. So first off, I'm just going to rewrite, or actually just look at the first two there. Before I rewrite it, I want to look at if I were to get rid of the A's, we want to be able to have the same coefficient with opposite signs. So in that second equation, I could multiply by -2. And if I did that, I'd end up with a positive 4a as my first term, and then I'd have the first equation there already has a negative 4a. So I'm going to rewrite that first equation. Because I don't have to do anything with that. But that second equation, I'm going to multiply everything, like I said, by -2. So that becomes a positive 4a. Make sure you multiply everything by 2, even that pesky 8 on the far, far right side, on the other side of the equation. Every term gets multiplied by -2. So next you'd have a plus 12b, and then this would become a minus 6c equals a -16, and we're going to add those together. Oops. So when we add those together, the a's disappear. And so now we just have 17b. And -5 minus 6, or -5 plus a -6, will be a -11c, and this will be a -39. All right, so now we have this equation that we haven't done anything with. So we're going to combine that one with, again, one of the other equations before, so one of the original equations, not the one that we just multiplied by -2, but one of the original equations. We're going to combine that with the a minus 5b minus 6c and -5. So let's say if I just multiply that by a positive 2, and then combine that with this first equation. So that first equation is -2a. I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually rewrite that down here. So I'll rewrite it down here. So we'll have -2a minus 6b plus 3c equals 8. So then if I multiply that second equation by a positive 2, because again, we're trying to get rid of the same variable. Okay, so whatever variable we got rid of to begin with, we're going to get rid of that same variable right now. We don't want to get rid of a different one. So that's why I multiplied this by 2. So 2a, this will be minus 10b, this will be minus 12c equals, whoops, -10. So when we add those together, again, the a's disappear. That's what we want. So then when we add the b's together, we get -16b. And then when we add the c's together, 3 minus 12 will be -9, so minus 9c. And then 8 minus 10 will be -2. All right, so let me just rewrite what we have here. So we have the 17b minus 11c equals -39. The other equation is -16b minus 9c equals -2. So now we have to get rid of one of these variables. Now it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to multiply both equation by a number. Because remember, you want to have the same coefficient with opposite signs. Instead of getting rid of the b's, because if I got rid of the b's, I'd have to multiply the first equation by 16 and the second equation by 17. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this first equation by, let's just do 9. and the second equation we'll multiply by negative 11. Now, why are we doing that? So in that way, the c terms we can get rid of, because at the first equation I'd end up with negative 99c, and the second equation I'd end up with a positive 99c. But we have to multiply everything by 9. So when you do that, again, you have a calculator, so you can use a calculator for that, but you're going to get 153b minus 99c equals negative 351. Second equation, when you multiply by a negative 11, you get a positive 176b plus 99c equaling a negative 11 times negative 2 would be a positive 22. We're going to add those together. When you do it, you get 329b equals negative 329. So if we divide both sides by 329, we get b equals negative 1. All right, so we got one of our variables. Now we got to figure out what a and c are. Now you might say, oh my gosh, it took us so much work just to find b. Well, now it's going to be much easier to find c, because what we can do is we can go backwards now. So we can go backwards into, and we can plug b into one of those two equations in either yellow or orange. Because there we had, maybe I'm gonna do the orange one. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna replace b with negative 1 in that orange equation. So we'd end up with negative 16 times negative 1 minus 9c equals negative 2, or 16 minus 9c equals negative 2. So I can subtract 16 from both sides. When I do, I get negative 9c equals negative 18. If I divide both sides by negative 9, I get c equals positive 2. All right, that wasn't too bad. Now to find a, we're just going to, because now we know what b is, we know what c is, so now we're going to go up into one of the original equations. It doesn't matter which one we use. So let's say if we use that very last one, because that one we had a minus 5b minus 6c equals negative 5. We had smaller variables there. So I'm going to plug in what I know. So I'd have a, and then we'd have minus 5 times my b value, which is negative 1, minus 6 times my c value, which is 2, equals negative 5. So now we just solve for a. So negative 5 times negative 1 would be a positive 5, minus 12 equals negative 5, or 5 minus 12 would be negative 7. And now I could add 7 to both sides, whoops, and I get a equals 2. So my answer here is that a equals 2, b equals negative 1, and c equals 2. That is a lot of work, I understand, but it is a process, and the process, once you get the hang of it, isn't too bad. So let's just go back and just quickly see what we did. So we started out by looking at which variable we want to start out by getting rid of. So I identified, well, let's get rid of the a's. And so then once I got rid of, so to get rid of the a's, we figure out, well, what would we need to multiply one of the equations by? So that way we could eliminate the a's and then use the equation that we didn't do anything with and get rid of the same a value by combining that with one of the other equations. And then once we get rid of the a's, we set up a system of two equations with two variables, which you have seen before, solve for one of the variables, and then you just work way backwards. All right. I want you guys to try this one out. Now, to make it easier, so in that way you're doing the same thing that I did in the answer key, let's start by getting rid of the c's, because if you notice, we have all of the c's are the same. So what you'd have to do is you just have to multiply, start with one of the equations, multiply it by a negative 1, so in that way you'd have the same coefficient with opposite signs. So what I did, so again, you can do it a number of different ways. So the hard thing is when you check your answer, your work might be completely different from mine. So you just do your best. So I want you to pause the video and hit play when you're ready to check your answer. All right, let's see how you did. Now, what I'm going to show you here is I have all the steps worked out. But again, the order that you did it in might be slightly different than the order that I did it in. So what I did is I numbered my steps here just so you could see from all this chaos what I did. So what I did is I started out with, I kept the first equation the same, and then I multiplied the second equation by negative. So in that way, the c's would cancel out. So I get negative 10a minus 3b equals 44. So I didn't use this bottom one yet. So I paired that with the one right up above it. So I kept that one the same, 5a plus 2b plus 2c equals negative 19. Then I multiplied again that bottom one by negative, so the c's would cancel out again. So then I was left with negative a minus 4b equals negative 3. So then I went over here to step 3. So I just rewrote those two equations. So I have a system of equations in two variables. And then I noticed that, well, the a's would be easiest to get rid of by multiplying by negative 10, because then we'd have a negative 10 in the first equation and a positive 10 in the second equation. So the first equation stays the same. The bottom equation, I multiplied everything by 10, or I'm sorry, negative 10. So everything becomes positive here. So when I added those together, again, the a's cancel out, leaving me with 37b equals 74. So dividing by 37, giving my value of b of 2. And then I went over here, step 5. What I did is I picked one of those. I picked the orange one here, and I replaced b with a positive 2. So when I simplify that, you get negative a equals 5. So that means a equals a negative 5. And then I went up here to step 6. I replaced what I found for a and b into one of the equations. I used the first one because my coefficients were smaller here. And so when I simplified that, and again, it doesn't matter what you use. You'll always end up with the same answer. And you end up getting c equals 1. So there's your values for a, b, and c. So I know that was really tricky, but hold on. There is an easier way. Make sure you watch the next videos where I show you how you can use this on your do this on your calculator.